Hello, and welcome to the commentary zone. As you enter the room, please don't forget to give us a little thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, tell a friend. Join us in our live chats. Okay, so today is Friday, and that means it's a TLC review. So, first up on the docket, we have The Family Chantel, Season 4, Episode 14, The End of Forever. Who would have thought we would have
This was
gotten
a real
like
easy.
14 episodes?
I'm gonna say this. This was an easy watch. Um, yeah, Chantel got the money.
But
That was just
listen, other things came out. Like before I was like, girl, why you was so quick to take the money? But we found out he took other money
more money.
before.
Six
Like
thousand
and
and then 5,000.
yes, and he was and that's a business account, right? So why are you
Right.
dipping into it for like bread at the supermarket to fund your apartment and fully furnished? Fully kitted out. He ain't going lowbrow. He going balls to the wall
And how do you get the money to
for the
how do
attorney.
you, yes.
Listen,
Cause
and
remember,
you notice, right? I don't think Chantel, like he always says, Chantel always going on vacation, vacation, vacation. I think she uses a credit card and pays it from a separate account because that's not
yes.
business. So
Right.
was he dipping into this account for his new apartment because he was going to try to use it as a business expense?
I kind of think
Explain
so.
that to me.
And remember the attorney said that retainers 10,000 for contested
Right,
divorces.
right,
So how did he file that? Did he file it as contested or uncontested? That's very important. That's a difference of 5K.
right. So what did he do? Where like cuz I was saying if I knew I was planning this like how we're assuming he did, he was planning his leave, I would have been tucking away money. So did he have another account or did he go and get credit cards to put his retainer on? Was he like, trying to run different cards to see how much he got on this one, how much he got on that one? Like that part of it just seems really poorly planned out. And considering who your mother is, Pedro, I thought you would have done better. Or is that just, I don't know. First of all, if I have a joint account with somebody, I'm not going to be taking out those kinds of large sums without running it by the other person.
Right.
And I loved it when she told him, "You're never going to find that money." His whole conversation, when she said, I've called the police, and he dipped out, and then he called her back. That whole conversation was sketchy to me. It was gaslighting. It was manipulative. It was incoherent at times. It was just really weird. Like I heard a different side of Pedro in that phone conversation. And how are you going to divorce somebody and not even at least try counseling?
No, he tried nothing. She said everything that she tried, it was nothing.
Hi, everybody in the chat. Hey, Susan. Hey, Nisei. Oh my gosh. The Dermatician. Hi, Yanni. Money for attorney, but not for food. It's just really weird. I heard yesterday the 250,000 was Chantel's from a trust fund. Yes, I heard that too from like a grandparent. Where does that play in? Our legal expert Jamal.
It's since it's premarital. Since it's from her grandparents, I'm assuming it's premarital. It doesn't play unless the only way he would be entitled if the grandparents died while they were married. But
Even
if it's
if the
in if
grandparent only left it to her?
yeah, well, it's tricky, but you would think that's the way it will work. But premarital, let me look it up real quick.
Hold up. Yanni said something incredible. More and more, it sounds like to me that Debbie is right, that she paid him to marry her for the show. Wait, hold on. Yanni never thinks I'm right. Thank you, Yanni. I'll take this one. I'm gonna remember it forever.
Okay.
Susan says he was
Okay,
a
I'm thinking.
scammer.
Okay, I'm thinking California law. Let me go to Georgia law. California law
Okay.
and trusts established before marriage are considered separate property.
But I think that should be the way for all states if it's pre-marriage. But if she got an inheritance from a grandparent, right? Why would
Everyone
she
has a
put that
different
in a
law, so
business account?
right. So here's what it says. The general rule in Georgia is that an inheritance will be viewed as separate property, not subject to division upon divorce, unless the funds or property are commingled. So I'm gonna
Oh,
go with. So I'm gonna go with if this was so in Georgia it does matter. It does matter.
it's separate unless it's commingled.
Right.
Bad move, Chantel. If you put that money into a joint account, then he does have a claim on it. If
Right.
she had kept it separate,
Mm-hmm.
I would have put that money in my mama name.
Right.
Furthermore, he would have never knew what my Grammy left me. Sorry.
That too.
Because when you go to the reading of the will, I'd have been like, I'm sorry, but there's only specific names that have been invited. I'll tell you all about it when I get back, okay? She could have given me a ball of lint from her dryer and he would have never known about it. I'm realizing that I'm not a really nice person. My God, this is why I'm not married. I just don't know how not to be selfish. Jesus. Yeah, this trust fund doesn't make any sense. Why would he go after a trust fund money? If she made the mistake of putting that in a joint business account, mm, mm.
Terrible move.
Um, so yeah, that opening conversation, he stopped communicating with her, stopped having sex with her, did not want to do any counseling, took out an additional $6,000 on top of the $5,000 he took out. That's why she felt she needed to put the money in a safe place until the judge could decide on division. Um, it, it was the way he even rolled up on her and started digging through her car was just out of order. There, there was a hint of desperation there on his part. I didn't like how he looked in this scene at all. Oh, and he didn't even tell her about the U-Haul showing up. He just rolled up with the moving van. Wow.
Yeah. He just did everything wrong.
And
Everything wrong.
he really gave himself away because you notice in all of his conversations with her, it was only focused on the money. Only focused on the
All
money.
money.
And telling her, I know you're going to Panama. You're going to take the money down to Panama and put it down there. What you worried about? That you didn't think of that first?
Right.
I was just real disappointed in him in that first scene. And I was proud of her that when she said this was her first power move in this relationship in a long time, and she's not willing to let him walk all over her. Good for you. Snap the fuck out of it and start doing what you need to do. Hey, Margine, welcome, welcome. Hold on. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so this trust fund doesn't this trust fund doesn't make any sense. Why would he go after a trust fund money? Because he greedy and his mama probably told him to do it. In
His,
Brazil,
his
my
mama
ex will
told him.
not. Uh-huh.
His mama probably told him he had rights to it since it was in a joint account.
Ooh. Well, then he should have snatched it first. In Brazil, my ex would not have any right of my inheritance until I bought something with that money, like a home. Oh, so then he
Mm.
would have a right to the home.
Right. Do we think she
Yowzers.
do we think that she used trust fund money to buy the house?
Shit. Jamal, bite your tongue. Poo 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 on that. I hope not.
I'm just asking.
Could she have been that stupid?
But because she remember she stayed in the show that she wanted to be sure she kept that home because it's her home. We have to remember that.
Oof. I could get a lawyer and deport
And
under false pretenses. Ooh, you think she could do that?
and think about this too. Think about how the way everyone was acting about the house. Like Chantel decided Winter was going to move in with her. Her mother was going to
Uh-huh.
stay longer. They just kind of took over the house. Like Pedro had
Because
no
he
right to it.
abandoned the house. He
True,
willingly
true, true.
left. So to
But did
me,
it
if you willingly move out and you want this separation, then you need not come back here until we have an equitable distribution of marital assets. You no longer live here, boo. You
I want
left.
to,
I didn't kick you out. You left.
he keeps saying
From
his name's on the house. I need to see the deed.
for real. Mm-hmm.
I need to see the deed.
But that's why the story makes no sense. Chantel would not put inheritance money in a joint bank account.
Right.
Maybe they had this conversation about investing money in Panama to hide from the IRS. Ooh, y'all going deep. Um, she wouldn't be able to deport him at this point for nothing. Muhammad still right because he can get his own citizenship now. Um,
He would have to get arrested.
I don't believe his name is in the deed. Yanni don't believe it.
I'm kind of with Yanni.
He would not have made a calculated mistake like that, would he? Not with his mother. His mother would be like, get your name on everything. Wow. Okay. So we see we find out that oh my god, those little red underwear that Pedro was in, I was disappointed.
You are a fool for that.
Well, he's been doing the keto and all of the pumping up and all of this. And then you saw the little red bikinis. And I was just like, wait, red first. And then I was just like, that's it. Oh, well, Chantel wasn't missing anything for the past year. All right. TMI. Oh my God. All right, so he's complaining that she's gone to Panama and has probably taken the money. That's what he's assuming. He decides to go and visit his lawyer. We find out he found the money somehow for $5,000 to $10,000 worth of retainer fee. And he's getting ready. Like she's going through all of the steps and what's next. And
Mm-hmm.
he has this little scene like before he signs where he's just like you now thinking about it? You imploded your whole setup and you're now thinking about it. Give me a break, Pedro. Give me a break. The lawyer's really playing into this with her little rehearsed lines, this always happens right before, it's a sense of loss or some such mumbo jumbo.
That means the check. That
He
just
was
means the check cleared.
vulnerable. For
The check
real.
cleared.
Basically, this woman was not talking to him unless some sort of credit card or check was cleared. Honestly. Honestly. Um, I thought he did it because in his head, he missed the opportunity to get the money. And he was just wondering where that money was, if it was indeed heading down to Panama.
Right. He was looking for a route of money. He was trying to figure out
Right.
he's like where is the money? That's what he was thinking
Yeah,
of.
I don't think that sigh or that expression of pretend grief had anything to do with Chantel. This
Mm-mm.
whole episode, his sole focus was money.
He was like, she got to her before I did. I
Mhm.
waited. He in his head, he's like, I waited too long.
Yep. Yep. Or worse yet, I didn't think she was that smart. I thought I had her where she trusted me. But boo, that
Mm-hmm.
was 2 episodes ago where she nearly had like a lung collapse saying that she trusted you. She stopped trusting you after that episode.
Yep.
Um 3 days later, Chantel and Destiny are in the car coming back from the airport from their trip to Panama. Happy birthday, Destiny. Um, they spent 5 days down there. You know, Chantel was a bit of a wet sock. But she gets back to the States and finds out her phone not working. The only call she can make is to the carrier. She asked to speak to Pedro because Pedro turned off her phone and took away the right to the telephone number. And when the carrier contacted Pedro, Pedro refused to speak to Chantel. What in the whole holy hell fuck was he doing? For real?
Right, but then he told Karen. Okay, we're not there, but that scene with Karen was hilarious.
Didn't I tell you she
Sorry, it
reminded me
was.
of Pearl from 227?
And she
But
she
wait.
had
Let's not
go,
let's
go
not
ahead,
touch on it yet. Let's not touch on
go
it
ahead.
yet. Alrighty. So I like Destiny. I like Destiny a lot. Destiny has like the few scenes that we've had with Destiny and Chantel, she's the only one that's making sense in the situation, and we get it and we like it. Um, Pedro was dead wrong for pulling that stunt with the phone. Dead
Right,
wrong.
because you knew she was out of the country and you left her stranded.
Mm-hmm.
That
We
was my
find
problem.
out, we find out that even though Pedro took the K1 visa paperwork from her car, we find out that she had copies of the paperwork. So she's not as stupid as we thought. Um, let's see. She is still financially responsible for him, but as
Two and a
soon
half
as he,
years.
yeah, just 2.5 years more, or if he files for citizenship before that, she is no longer responsible for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she goes to her parents' house. Um,
Good
which I
move.
think is a smart move because I wouldn't want her to be alone because she's still processing everything. And they're rallying around her. They're rallying around her and showing her support. So I and they're not going all in on Pedro. They're like not rubbing it in on her and they're not totally tearing down Pedro. They are stating their concerns that they think it might be scammerish, but they're not going balls to the wall, which I can appreciate.
Because they understand where she's at and like how she's feeling. Because she's already
Mhm.
feeling that way. There's no sense piling on her.
Mhm. There was a scene with Lydia and Nicole calling Pedro while he's sleeping in bed. The thing that he was complaining about Chantel doing. I went to the kitchen.
Yeah, it was you missed nothing. I watched it, but you missed nothing.
Okay. I just don't understand why they all acting like they are afraid of Pedro. Who's afraid of Pedro? Cause she ain't stupid like Pedro, Debbie. How can he turn off the phone if he's not the primary? I doubt he was. I think he was in charge of the phone. I think
Right,
he was because remember he said he would get her a new phone every year. I think he had a family plan where it was multiple lines on one account and he
and he's
got
the
her
he's
the phone.
he's the primary line.
Mhm. Cuz isn't he like into that techie stuff, gaming and all that stuff? He would want
Yes.
that kind of to be in charge of that. Um let's see. Chantel doesn't feel good staying by herself in her house. So she invites Winter to move in, and Karen is staying over as well. So they're talking. Hold on. Oh, we find out from the ladies talking that when Chantel got back from Panama and finally went over to her house, that the whole place was ransacked. So we saw him taking stuff from Chantel to give as gifts to her mom, but it seemed like he went through the entire house and started taking
Mm-hmm.
stuff, including some of her jewelry, the bag that she never really liked, and her red bottom shoes. Okay, y'all. And she said it's so ironic that he stole that stuff from her when he's still wearing the name brand stuff that she bought for him. Ouch. And she also says that he opened his big mouth, so bring on the divorce. She's ready. She really collected herself. She really collected herself. We
She
see
wasn't. She
Pay.
wasn't. I
Uh-huh.
think she kind of sees it for what it is now, versus what she thought it was going to be. I think she's kind of over the initial shock. I don't really think she thought he would go through with it. To be completely honest, I think she
Mm-hmm.
still was in that hope stage. But I think after
Right.
going to Panama, coming back, having her phone turned off, I think she's like, okay, he's real serious. And she went to she went to her parents' house. She had to sit down with her mom and dad and brother and sister and talk it out and make sure the
Right.
plan is still in place. And she's like, okay, this is what you want. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Yanni says, but is that okay? But this is what I'm wondering. What kind of man she married that now she need her sister and mom to move in? He kind of broke into the house. He violated her by digging through all of her stuff and stealing some of her
Hmm.
possessions. This is no longer a
While she
person that
wasn't
she
there,
thought she knew. Yeah.
while she wasn't there, that was the problem.
Right. She would have never thought he would do something like that. So you're now like in your head, I don't know this person. This person is a stranger to me. So I don't want to be in this big old house by myself, but I'm not going to abandon my house neither. So I mean, what else has Winter got to do? Ugh. We see Pedro driving over to Chantel's house, and he claims it's to let her know that he's filing for divorce. He gets to the house and he sees that everybody's car is there. He rings the doorbell because all of the codes on the locks have been changed. So
Brilliant, brilliant move.
well, those codes were changed before because remember when he went in there and ransacked the house, the only way he could get in was through the garage. She
The
forgot to
garage.
change the garage code.
Oh, that's
Um,
right. It was the
yep.
garage he got through.
Mm-hmm. Um, so he rings the bell, and Pedro comes to the door. Not
River
Pedro,
comes to the door.
River. River comes to the door, and I really liked this interaction because it was grown. It was grown. River came out. River closed the door behind him and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And Pedro actually thought that they would let him in. Huh? Have you forgotten who this family is? What? I think not, but they had a civil conversation, and Pedro gives River a message to tell Chantel, and River goes in and goes and sit on the couch. He's not bothering his sister with that. So this is where Pedro lost me. Pedro started going around the side of the house like a burglar.
Yeah.
And that's where he met Pearl/Miss Karen.
I'm going
And
to say
you
Karen
can
was
describe
excellent.
this scene.
Karen was excellent. Everything Pedro said, she had an answer for, and her answer
Mm-hmm.
actually was correct.
Uh-huh.
Like he's like he wanted to speak to Chantel. She's like, you can call her on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, I
And
just want to let her know that I filed for divorce. She's like, she knows that already.
mm-hmm.
She's like, you told her,
Yep,
and
this is
they
the
kind of went back
process.
and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, da, da, da. She's like, well, this is what happens when people divorce. He's like, just let her know, like, she said she's miserable. Da, da, da. She's like, I never heard her say that. So he kept going his
Mm-hmm.
little spiel,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, you know what? Thank you. You're gonna get the best divorce ever. And I hollered. I hollered. He's like, huh? She's like, you're gonna get the best divorce ever. I chuckled. I chuckled. I was hollering when she said
Karen
that. I'm
was
like,
perfect. She
she
was
was.
perfect. Like it wasn't loud, it wasn't ratchet, it was just sweet. It was like she was sopping sugar. She was so polite. I was like, wow. It was priceless, Yanni. It really was. That window scene was priceless. Um, let's see. So we get through that.
And she didn't berate him. I appreciate that was what made the scene really good. She never berated him, and you
Mm-mm.
could see he was trying to bait her into an argument.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't go for it. I was like, you know what, Karen, you irked me 99% of the time, but this your 1% was excellent because she was not going
Mm-hmm.
for it
Yep.
because he wanted her he wanted her to react and she didn't do it because he would just use that in the divorce like see her family's this her family's that.
Mm-hmm. They've always hated me, always been against me.
And my thing is,
But
sir, if you were that concerned about getting into the house and it's still
mm-hmm.
your house, why don't you call the police? Because
Or
if
why
his
did you
name is on
leave
the
in the first place?
right,
I would have
but I'm going with it.
never given up my occupancy of the house. She
Hmm.
could have been crying fucking Niagara Fall outside of my bedroom door. I don't care.
That's what you're right. But now at this point, I thought to myself, like, why would you call the police? Because if your name is actually on the deed and the police come out, they actually have to let you in.
True.
So I'm
But
like,
does he know that though? He seems very ignorant of his rights until like somebody tells him. Like he didn't even know he could go and apply for his own citizenship. How is that possible when you have the mother you have?
right.
Ugh. Well, after he leaves, Chantel comes downstairs. She says she heard the commotion, but she didn't want to deal with it. Um, but they fill her in. Um, they relayed the message regarding him filing for divorce. And she says she heard his voice and she started to shake. Thomas arrives and walks in the house like it's his. And I I think like they are really supporting her in the best way possible without judging her,
Right.
if that makes sense. I'm just so
I,
surprised that her family is doing this though.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they've had
Mm-hmm.
this in the back of their minds for a long time. I
Mm-hmm.
believe they've had a plan for when this day comes. They knew it was going to come. They
Mm-hmm.
accepted him. They wanted the best. They hoped for the best, but they always had a plan in the back of their heads, and this is the plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Thomas asks her if if she ever does see him, what will she say? And Chantel said that she doesn't know because she's still processing what she's feeling. She does, however, eventually want to talk to Pedro, Lydia, and Nicole at some time in the future as sort of a truth, but today she's not ready. So is this set up for next season?
Yeah.
Ah. Pedro thinks that Chantel pushed him away, and Chantel thinks that Pedro ended the marriage all on his own, and he refused to do any of the things that she asked him to do, like counseling and get to know you cards or anything, not even a walk around the neighborhood. So they have vastly different views on why this marriage ended. Hey, Christoph, welcome back. Um, I do not think I can handle Team Pedro right now. Uh. The show is called Family Chantel. The Pedro and his family can disappear. Oh, y'all
Well, they
are.
can. They added
Oh,
nothing.
Christoph says I can't stand them. Oh, yeah. that's when I went to go to the kitchen to get a snack.
And
I wasn't too I don't want to hear them anymore. I
they don't
know.
really add anything. I mean, like I said, Pedro with Chantel hit his peak. As I said before, no
Mhm.
offense to Karima, but it's going to be Karima's from here on out.
Mhm. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Um I don't remember a preview for next week. That could be me though. So I like this episode. I only walked out once.
Yeah, it was action packed through the whole show. The only scene I didn't like was the one with Lydia and Nicole. I didn't care about them.
Well, what are they doing? I saw them. They were at the hair
The beauty,
salon and
yeah,
laughing. So I was like, this is nothing to be laughing about. Like, y'all, they talk so badly about the family Chantel, but the family Chantel or Chantel's family is behaving so much more appropriate
which is
than
shocking.
right, which makes me think that they were hamming it up before for the TV show, whereas Lydia and Nicole, this is who they are.
Right, 100. I agree with that 100% actually.
It's just very, very disappointing that you would almost find glee in your child's hurt. That's how Nicole and Lydia come off for me as emotional vampires who are just getting stronger off of other people's hurt. Good luck to y'all finding replacement for this TLC chick. TLC, do not
Exactly.
give them any work.
Mm-mm. They're not interesting enough to get work, and that's just the truth.
Okay, hold on. Yanni asks, by the way, talking about hate, are we watching Sister Hating Wife? Sister Hate? Is it
What's that?
Seeking Sister Wife? Is that it? Or is it Sister Wives? Because we actually are watching both. Scammers, all of them. Time to investigate Mama Lawyer. Honestly, I don't care enough about Lydia or Nicole to waste time or money or anything on them. I don't care. Find another pawn, and good luck with Pedro supporting you. And oh, did you hear on social media the woman that he works for, that at the real estate company, like she's spent time in prison
What?
as a scammer.
Wow. So the lady who runs the quote unquote agency, she's a scammer.
Yeah, and a felon.
Convicted.
Yeah, she spent time in prison, not just jail, because I now know the difference. Yes, Susan says it. She's a criminal. Yes,
See,
we have to do Sister Wives of permit. Yes, we are watching it, Christoph. Sister Wives
this
that
is.
we are hating right now. Oh my god.
I mean, this is the emancipation of Christine. We have to watch this season.
Mhm. Mhm. So, I think Sister Wife Seeking Sister Wife is done this week.
Yes. Hmm.
So that'll just slip into that slot.
Right.
Okay. So we'll still have TLC Fridays, but next week we'll add Sister Wives to it. All right, so guys, that's it for this episode. This was the Family Chantel season 14. So sorry, season 4, episode 14, The End of Forever. And if next season is about the divorce, sign me up. I'm here for it as long as I don't have to hear Lydia representing him in the Atlanta court. She's done enough.
Agreed. Well, he already
Um,
has his lawyer. He already has his lawyer though, so he's good.
well, yeah, yeah. So guys, join us at the top of the hour. We'll talk about the season finale of Seeking Sister Wife. Have your resuscitator on hand because Danielle puts on the performance of a non-lifetime.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
just
bad
bad. It was just bad. All
and
right, so
unnecessary.
I'm so confused with that relationship, and it's all because of Danielle. All because of Danielle. But
Exactly.
anywho, guys, meet us back here at the top of the hour. Jamal, any final thoughts?
No, Ava just snuck in and says hi. This episode was so good. Yeah, it really was.
On IG, have you been seeing the foolishness on IG and Twitter? What foolishness? Do tell.
Now they go. Now they go check IG and Twitter. Great.
Yes, you do. That's you have to investigate and give us an update later. So Jamal, until next time.
Of course.
All right, y'all. Bye.